Hey guys, so I have a problem. For the last about a year, I've been watching the build videos on the R2D2. Absolutely fantastic model. However, I've got issues with it, which I will explain about in a moment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you all about the D'Agostini's half-sized R2D2, and I'm going to show you why I'm not going to build it, and I'm going to show you what I am going to build. So hopefully you'll enjoy. Okay, so this is D'Agostini Model Spacer's site. This is the build your own R2D2, and it looks absolutely amazing. You see 25 months at $35.96, available to order now. This new magazine celebrates the amazing technology of Star Wars saga, following the footsteps of the master film prop designers that assemble a movie-accurate, half-sized replica of the most advanced astromech in the galaxy. Now, before I go into all of this, there's a few little issues I've got, and the main one being, I mean, it is a wonderful map. I've seen people building it. Look at this, it's absolutely amazing. However, this is my theory, and I may be wrong. This is going to take, let's say, 2 years to build. It's actually coming to the end of its first run, so it's already been running for 2 years. It's probably at least a year in development, and then probably another year in testing and development. So by the time I build this, at best it's probably going to be 6 years worth of technology. Now technology moves very, very quickly. Okay, the functions that this have, it will always have, and it's half size, so that's not a major issue, but you know, I'm thinking, will there be things that it's missing, you know, so, but this is basically, we have a one-piece metal dome, dual mode. You can switch the R2D2 to operate under command or in autonomous AI mode. He will then behave like the willful astromech in the movies. He has a camera, he's Wi-Fi enabled, there's communication, there's a projector, lots and lots of things, rechargeable battery, status displays. Now, I've recently been getting into Arduinos. Now I will confess I'm not an expert with Arduinos, but all of these, possibly with the exception of the projector, I could probably do myself with an Arduino. The reason I say not to the projector is because all of these, I can imagine how it's done. The camera, the Wi-Fi, the movement, the remote control pop-up lightsaber. I can't at this present stage imagine how the projector is done. However, I believe on the actual model this isn't actually a hologram, it's actually just throwing an image onto like a white wall, so it may be possible to do. The specs are wonderful, so let's have a quick look at the build. Yeah, so we have a preview poster here. Now, I've had to load this up twice because part of it, as you'll see, is upside down. So I've loaded it up twice and flipped it over. So we'll have a look at this bit first. And this tells you what you will expect every week. I do like that poster. That looks absolutely amazing. It's easy to assemble. It's got a combination of metal and plastic chassis, and it's got advanced electronics. When your R2D2 is complete, you'll be able to download the special control app, fit the rechargeable batteries, switch on, blah blah blah, off you go. And then obviously there's loads of information in the magazine. So, and then we have, I mean, it just looks amazing, doesn't it? And these are all the features that it has. So I actually had a look, and I thought, well, I've got a 3D printer, I know I'm learning how to program, so I thought maybe I could have a look and do it myself with my 3D printer, and lo and behold, I came across this. Now this is the files required to make your own 3D dome, R2D2 dome, sorry, not 3D. Now this one, this Mr. MR Badley, I don't know if it's MR Badley or Mr. Badley, I think it's Mr. Badley, but he's designed lots of files. If we have a little closer look, this is a list of all his designs, and this all looks absolutely amazing. And he doesn't just do R2D2 domes, he does other domes as well, which is future projects I could perhaps look at. So I took a closer look, and in the end I decided that I could actually do this as a full-size build, and I wanted to treat this like a part work. So this is what I've decided I'm going to do. Right, so the plan is that I'm going to build a full-sized R2D2. I'm going to do it over a number of weeks. I'm going to try and do it to a budget. Whether or not that works, I don't know. Now I will confess I have already begun to build it. Now the problem is I went ahead and I did what I thought would be best. There was lots of advice out there, which some of it I took and some of it I didn't. So under that purple towel is what I've already done. I've hidden it because I want to deal with this stage by stage. So what I'm actually going to do, until I catch up, the videos catch up with where I'm actually up to at the time of recording, I'm actually going to show you the bits episode by episode as I felt would perhaps been a better way to do it, in the way that I would like to do this as though we're doing a part work. What I'm aiming for is to do this over 100 episodes, and I'm hoping to do it to a budget of £1,000. Now £1,000 into 100 episodes is about a tenner a week. Now it's very easy for me to go absolutely crazy, print. In fact, that's actually what I've done. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to make a set of rules, and I really need to stick to those rules. That will prevent me from going crazy with the build. Okay, so firstly I'm going to stick to a budget of £10 a week. Now that's my own personal budget. You can stick to your own budget, be it £5, £15, $20, $5, whatever you want. So each week I will add £10 to the available kitty. Any monies that we do not spend in that one particular week, we can carry over, and we'll use that to our advantage. If we have something big that we want to buy, what we'll look at is perhaps doing some smaller parts, something that perhaps requires a lot more labour and less actual materials, so we can save a little bit of money and then we can spend that on a big purchase. Now I will allow myself to go over budget by up to £50, so if I have a larger purchase that I really need, then I'll be able to do that. However, if I do go overdrawn, I will not allow myself to spend any more money until that overdraft is cleared. There will be some exceptions. That will be materials that I've already purchased, which I'm costing as per use. Now, as I say, materials will be costed in that way. So for example, if I bought a roll of filament which costs say £20, and I printed off something that required exactly 1/4 of that filament, then obviously I would charge that as £5 for the filament. Now any existing tools that I already have, and I don't have a lot of tools, but they will not be charged to the project because I've already got them. So for example, I have knives, I have some files, they already exist, so I won't charge them. Any tools that I have to buy, for example a sander I've decided to buy myself, I will charge that to the project, and I will charge that at 25%. The reason I've chosen 25% is because I feel if I have a tool in that way, I can actually use that for other projects as well. And I will film and include all experiences. For example, if I had a failed print, I will show you the failed print. We'll try and diagnose why it went wrong and what I can do to put it right in the future. However, for video purposes, I won't actually charge that to the project. Okay, so the way I've decided that we're going to build this is we're going to start from the very top, and then we're going to build the dome, and then once we've built the dome, we'll start on the body. And the first file we're going to work on is a file called the upper pi A and upper pi B. Now, Mr. Badley says to just print them off in the orientation given, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't happy with this. So what I've done is I've resized them, repositioned them, sorry, and as you can see there, what I'm after is as much of the actual finished product in touching the build surface as I possibly can. So I'm just relocating these so there will be less support material. Now he does say that we don't need support material. He also recommends a layer height. I've actually set some presets up here, and he's recommending a layer height of 0.3. That will produce a lower quality model. However, if you want to do it in a higher quality, you can. There will be some sanding and filling to do. So you don't actually, I mean, I've tried this. The first few prints I did actually do in a higher resolution, and they came out nice. But to be honest with you, especially when there isn't an awful lot of detail, 0.3 doesn't actually make all that difference. So I'm going to print these off in with no supports. So I've got no supports there, so we'll give that a try. And it's going to take a while to slice, I do apologise. And Cura is going to, now Cura's estimate and my actual printer estimates are two completely different things. In addition, I use my printer's got Octopi attached to it, so I can do things over Wi-Fi, plus a few other tools as well. So the figures it gives, so for example, if it said 6-hour print, it may actually take a little bit less, may take a bit longer. So the final figures that I give you will actually be the actual real thing. But it is estimating that it's going to take 5 hours and 2 minutes. We're going to use 25.31 meters of filament, which is 76 grams, and it will estimate the cost at £1.51. Now before I print, I do like to just change this to layer view, and this just gives me an idea of what the layers will look like. Obviously if you're using a different program, unfortunately I can't tell you how to use that other program, but this is obviously how you use it in Cura. So anything in blue is a helper, whether that be a brim. I always use a brim, it just gives me a little bit more surface area. And then anything in red is the actual build, and there's some other colours as well. So what we'll do is we'll take that all the way down to layer 1, and then we can see we've got lots of surface area there. And then if we just have a look at, say, the first 10 layers, that's going to build up exactly as I want it to. So that's going to build up nice and easy, and you see that it's starting to come into the middle there. Nothing too difficult for the printer. Obviously you've got to think about the hot filament, will it drip, and I think that the angles that it's going for there, that will be fine. So what we'll do is we'll hit the print with Octopi button, and then we'll get the print going. Okay, so my apologies, I did say I was going to print them out both together with no supports. I actually printed them separately with supports, but never mind. So the total for this print is 26.61 meters of filament. 79.78 grams of filament at total cost of £1.93. Now, my apologies. When I recorded this, I actually didn't realise the microphone settings were off. So I've got to do a voiceover. So I've got to try and remember what I was doing. So what we've done is I've just tested. I had a little look at them, and you can see how flat they are. These are the first two pieces of the pie. Now they do have 4 locating pegs. This is so that when you glue them together, it just helps you line them up. So what you need to do now, it depends on your printer. These holes should be 1.75 millimeters. However, due to inaccuracies in the printer, if you're like me, these will actually be smaller. So these will need to be drilled out, and I've actually used a 2mm drill. Most people will use a 2mm drill because they don't do a 1.75. So it's not a problem. So we'll just drill them out. Okay, so there's the drill bit ready. Now before you drill, just make sure you are checking the part. You see there where I've done a previous drill, I did actually come through a little bit. That's not a problem, we can clean that up later on. Remember that these are only a basic framework. They're going to be sanded down, they're going to be filled, and we're going to make them look really nice. So here's the first hole that we're drilling in. And that just goes in straight in like that. Obviously the hole has been drilled because I did it before. I do apologise. But I'm just demonstrating what we do here, and it's as simple as that. Okay, so here I'm getting 4 pieces of filament. Now this filament is free, this is just waste material. Where I've changed the colour once before, I've ended up throwing a little bit of it in the bin, probably about 30 centimetres, not too much. And I'm cutting off 4 strips, and I'm cutting off 4 bits that I know are going to be too long. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue them into the hole. Now you will notice that on one of them I'd accidentally drilled all the way through. If that's the case, just make sure you actually stop it at some point so that it's not poking through. If it is poking through, again, it can be cleaned up, and yeah, we can clean it up later on, but obviously it's far easier if you don't poke it all the way through. Now we're coming to the end of this, and I'm going to leave it here for this issue. A lot of the time was taken up explaining the project, for which I apologise. But what we'll do is we'll leave that to set. The longer you leave it overnight, and it'll set nice and hard. That's absolutely fine. So next week, what we will do is, excuse me, we'll glue the other half together. We'll trim those little locating pegs down to size. We'll glue them together, and then while we're doing that, we'll start on the main dome. The main dome comes in 6 pieces, so we'll print that one off over 3 weeks, and we'll do dome 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. Now a little bit of a preview. I did have some problems with my dome. The main problems I had were to do with power cuts, so they weren't complete prints. Half of the dome pieces I did manage to get complete. The other 3 I didn't, and I've devised a little fix for that. So I'll leave it at that. But before I go, we'll just do our budgets for the week. Okay, so our money for this week. Now we started this week with £10, and from that £10 we needed £1.93 for filament cost, and unfortunately I didn't have the drill bits when we began the project, so I did have to buy them. They cost me £7 for a set. The reason I bought a set is because I will be using other drill bits later on in the project. So I've got the 2mm, I've got the 4mm, and I may need larger ones as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. So that gives us a total cost this week of £3.68, and then obviously that leaves us with £6.32, and then obviously next week we will have an extra £10 to play with. So we'll begin next week with £16.32. Now that sounds a lot at the moment. However, I know some of the things that I need to buy. There's Arduinos, electronic equipment we'll need to buy, and we also need what's called a Lazy Susan. That's a device that it helps the head to turn smoothly, and that's quite expensive. I've sourced a certain one out. It may not be the cheapest one. It may not be the best, but it's a very good one for the money. So we do need to keep the money going and keep that balance up. So it's quite important that we don't spend too much. Okay guys, so thank you for watching, and I hope you will be continuing watching in future episodes. So this is what we've come up with in issue 1. It's a nice little part. It's not too big. If you got this far and then decided actually this project isn't going to be for me, it's not too much to have lost, and you probably only put about a couple of hours work into it. Most of the time has come from the printer. I personally, I'll watch the first layer. I'll make sure that goes down properly, and this being a 7-hour print, most of that time is just left. I mean, I sometimes I'll print and I'll go off to work. So next week we'll continue building this. We will glue the 2 halves together. I'm currently looking at some glues which I'm testing before I use, and this is the thing about this build. I've not built it. I'm reading up on a lot of forums. I'm learning as I go. I mean, I don't even know if the functionality is going to work, because I'm still learning electronics. But at the very least, because my painting, I think I have the painting skills to do this. So at worst case scenario, I'm going to have a full-scale replica of a still R2, like a statue. I won't say I'll put it on my shelf, because at 3 feet tall and 18 inches wide, it's going to be far too big for any shelves. But I have reserved a spot for it just there. That's where it will go, and as it builds up, it will sit there and it will get bigger and bigger and bigger. But for now, after 1 issue, we have basically we have something we can visualize. We know this bit is going to be blue, we know these bits are going to be blue, and I will be printing the part of the blue parts off in blue, and well, actually I'm going to print the white bits off in light grey. The reason I'm choosing light grey is because white, it just washes out on the camera, but the rest of it we'll try and go. Now, a word of warning, I've printed these off in silver. Silver is a very hard filament to deal with, and I've had so many problems. What would be a good alternative, because we're going to be painting over it anyway, in fact all the silver parts we're going to be spraying black, and then we'll put the metallic over the top. So I'm waving these about like some kind of conductor at a music orchestra thing. So I would actually advise printing these off in a dark grey or a medium grey. If I'd have known before how difficult the silver was, I've actually got an iron grey, which is really nice filament to use. I will link down below all the filaments that I use. There's lots of different things we're going to be using. We're going to be using rubbers, we're going to be using nylon, which at time of filming are something I've never printed with. So there's going to be lots of exploring. Who knows, maybe the project will go completely wrong and I never finish it. But for now, it's looking good. I'm very happy. Obviously, like I said before, I've already printed some of it off. There's quite a lot under there which will be revealed as we go on. So next week we'll be printing off dome piece number 1 and dome piece number 2. There were a few problems which I'll describe. We'll be gluing these together with the glue that I will have tested by the time I do this, and then we might look at sanding, but we will definitely just glue these together and print off a couple more parts. So that's it then for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know if I said it already, but please like, share, subscribe. I'd love to have you on board. If you subscribe and hit the bell icon, you will get notifications every time I put a new video up, which will be Mondays. Yeah, so take care guys, and hopefully I'll see you next week.